Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Adventures in Truth livecast. My name is Jim Case. I am your host. And today we're going to talk a little bit about being in my feelings. and the source of that started actually watching David Attenborough's new documentary, A Life in Our World. And it's quite extraordinary. And we're going to dive into that a little bit, but we're going to dive into the things that it stimulated, which is what I really wanted to bring to the show. For those of you who may be new to the show and what we do here at Adventures in Truth, I don't typically pre-do things well far in advance. So when I have shows during the week, on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and on Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I put those shows together the week of the show because I want the information, I want the energy to be fresh, I want it to be relative to what are we experiencing right now, what are we seeing, what are we feeling, what have I been living through, and what do I want to share about that? And that's really how I kind of go about the process of the show. Adventures in Truth is about diving into all things regarding truth and how we handle truth in our lives. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. But I want to give you a little teaser of what we're going to be diving into today. But getting into my feelings, there was a lot of things stimulated in this documentary that I think just hit home in a way that I'd never anticipated. And I think it's relevant. I think it's important. And I think we're going to have a really good conversation once we're through here. So before we begin, as always, I should say, in the last few weeks, I say that like I've been a published author forever. It's actually only been a couple weeks, which is pretty exciting. But if you haven't been introduced to my book, Fear is a Choice, Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love, I want to introduce you to it. This book, I think, and we'll talk about it periodically throughout the show, because ultimately what this book does is it changes your relationship with fear. And in changing your relationship with fear, that changes everything. It changes how you look at life. It changes how you interact with life. And ultimately, it's about moving us individually and collectively from a consciousness of fear, from a mass consciousness that is constantly promoting fear, to a consciousness of opportunity, a consciousness that is allowing things to unfold more naturally. And we've kind of moved very far away from being natural in our experience. And that's part of what the documentary is also talks about. But www.adventuresintruth.com, please head over to my website. You'll see there's some information about the book, some videos you can watch, and the links to order the book. You can order via Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Kindle, all of which are available and shipping. For those of you who have your books, I'm deeply grateful that you've stepped into this process with me. I'm deeply grateful that you're willing to stand in this new truth, or at least be willing to expose yourself to it. And that's really, in the end, all that can happen. I can create a book, I can put words to things, I can translate concepts, but if you aren't willing to integrate or take in that information, then the information is not of much value. The thing that I've discovered, I find that the information is valuable, but and those who have bought it, who've read it, are saying the same. So I'm deeply grateful for those who did the pre-orders, those who have ordered since. I hope that you are having a powerful, transformative experience through the book. And I would ask you to please support even further. Take one extra step for me and make sure to write a review. I love to see the pictures of when you get your book, showing me your book. I think that's awesome. Even more wonderful is if you can post your review, to put your review up on Amazon, and Barnes & Noble and Goodreads in particular. Those help me a lot as we're promoting the book and moving the book forward. Your reviews are what help anchor people to the experience. So the more of you that can share, the more grateful and appreciative I am of that, because that means the message is getting out. That means that people are getting the book in their hands. And I appreciate that very much. So when we come right back, we're going to start the show and dive into this topic of being in my feelings and really getting to a good place about that. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to a great show, and we'll be back in just a moment. right. Oh, here I am just sitting there enjoying the video and I didn't change my background. What was wrong here? Here we go. All right. Welcome back to Adventures in Truth, guys. Here we are again in my feelings. So I'll start with the beginning here. So I'd seen this movie. It was around, and I'd seen that that people were saying some pretty powerful things about it, and the movie is David Attenborough's A Life on Our Planet. It's on Netflix. It's free if you have Netflix. I think they're trying to distribute as much as they can. This is an extraordinary movie, an extraordinary documentary. The thing that's so cool about it, and I didn't even realize until this afternoon after having seen it, was the title of this movie is about a life on our planet, and that life is his. And this is his testament, as it were, his witness statement of his 93 years on the planet. And what I can tell you is that I don't recall being as affected or as moved by anything as far as external, a movie, a thing like that affected me so deeply emotionally. I literally, and understand the documentary is brilliantly produced. It takes you through the whole arc of experience, but the way he brings it all together, this is an incredibly beautiful unfolding of where he started, how he evolved, but it's all about the planet. It's all about about nature. It's all about our relationship with it. And so coming out of that film, I found myself feeling sad. I found myself feeling confused. Went to bed and woke up this morning in a really strongly funky place, a place of deep sadness, a place of feeling like, what's the point of all this? Like, why, what is all this? And then that stimulated deeper feelings and deeper stuff. About all this, I know some of that's just surface silliness and some of it isn't really relative. It's just, I'm trying to be as transparent and honest about what I'm understanding about my own process. And really that's what this experience drove home for me in a powerful way, is the message of the need for us, every single human being as an individual human being, taking inventory and stock of who we are and what we are, and taking that to the next level. And I'm going to dive into this more, but I wanted to kind of lay the framework because there's so much that we can do that we are not doing. There is so much that individually we must do that we are not doing. And I say must, not from a place of fear, from a place of moving the needle, from a place of creating change, from a place of the potentiality that is existing for the momentum that we are currently in needs to move a different direction. They talk about, if you see a movie that asteroid, that there's an asteroid coming to hit the planet, and the trajectory of that asteroid is coming from way, way, way far away, but it's moving so fast in such a clear direction that the ultimate idea is, what can I do to change the trajectory? And this is where our challenge is, because the change in trajectory isn't going to come from the mass. It's going to come from the one. It's going to start with the individual. And we're going to dive into that right after we go into our moment of focus. As you are all aware, this is a part of the show every time we do the show. And the reason I like to do this is, one is being conscious. Secondly is I want you to be present and focused and here and engaged with me as we do this. And it helps me to align, and it helps us all to come together. The second thing about it is the foundation for transformation, for change, for growth, to me, is about learning how to manage breath. It's about focusing on that aspect of our existence that is our vital life force, that is chi and prana and all those amazing words that reflect what our life force and energy is about. So we use breath and we learn to engage breath. And by doing so, we create this powerful foundation because we enroll the mind into the process of our evolution instead of having this dualistic experience. So what I'd like you to do right now is close your eyes and get comfortable in the place that you're in. And just let yourself settle into your breath. just bring your focus, be aware of your focus right at this moment. So we focus in awareness. And as your eyes are closed, what are you aware of? Notice that your awareness is largely placed outside of you. Notice that your awareness is tending to the surrounding in the environment, and very little is focused inside. And what I want you to do now, as you become aware, is I want you to bring that awareness. I want you to consciously choose to bring all of that awareness from outside the body, inside the body. I want you to bring all of your awareness right into the heart space, into the chest. Relax where you are. Be aware of your breathing. And focus your awareness on the inside of your body. 100% on the inside of your body. The environment will still be there. The environment will still have noises and things going on, but you're observing those as your attention is inside your body. Allow that consciousness, allow that awareness to flow through you. Let it go through your head. Feel the inside of your own head and your brain and your eyeballs and the cavities in your skull as you feel that awareness move down through your neck and shoulders. And as you feel that awareness expanding, notice your response. Notice what you see. Observe it. As you come through the neck and the shoulders into the upper chest, is there tension? As it goes down the arms, do they feel relaxed? And if you find that there's tension or there's not a relaxed, you don't have to do anything but breathe. Simply focus your awareness internally to that space and bring breath and let it relax. Just let it go. Surrender it in this moment right now. Let that awareness continue to move in the inside of your body through your torso, taking in all of the organs and all of the stuff that's inside of us, the blood, the veins, the arteries, the nerves, everything inside, all the tissue as it goes down through the hips and into the legs and the knees and the calves and through your feet. And now just be aware of the entirety of your physical body right this moment from the inside. Just be right here, right now. And now we're going to incorporate the breath into this process. We're going to inhale to a count of 4, filling completely. And as you get to the top, as you're full, relax. Feel that fullness and then allow the breath to leave through the mouth, forcing the air out of the mouth to a count of 6. And we do into 4 through the nose, out of the mouth to a count of 6. We're purging all that old air. We're purging all that old energy, making room for new life force and vital energy that we're consciously bringing into this body. And then at the bottom, when you've completely purged all of that old energy and air, rest in the emptiness. Feel the comfort in the emptiness. And we're going to begin that now. So we're going to begin with an inhale. And we're going to inhale 2, 3, 4. We're full. We're resting at the top in fullness. And then engaging and releasing the air through the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. And feeling yourself relax into the emptiness. Let that emptiness, just feel it. Feel how powerful that is. And engage the breath now. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Feeling full, feeling relaxed. As you release all that old energy and air out of the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And at the end, void, resting, feeling comfortable and relaxed in the emptiness. Engaging the lungs as you take in more air, filling completely, filling all the way in 3 dimensions, feeling that fullness as you reach the top, resting, relaxing, and then purging. Release that air, release that energy, let it go to the count of 6, 5, and 6. And at the bottom, again, resting in the emptiness, in the void. And continuing that pattern of breath on your own, feeling yourself breathing fullness Feel that chest each time reach for more air as you reach the top, and feel that fullness and enjoy the fullness. Relax in the fullness and release all that energy. As you release that energy, it's purging old air, old energy. Let it go down to the bottom as you reach to the bottom and into the void, into the emptiness. Powerful, powerful stuff as you re-engage your breath. And now I want you to take a moment with your breath, continuing the process of the breathing, and just hear these words and let them wash over you. Let them run through you as your awareness stays internal. I am the evolution of God realized as matter. I inform and guide that expression as the pure expression of God. I show up as God. I connect as God. I align as God. I am creation realized. And from that, I create, expand, and engage. I am. Feel those words move through you. Feel the breath unfolding you from the inside, feeling it deeply and powerfully. And bring all of that awareness back up to the chest, just focusing in the heart, feeling that emanation of love and energy moving from your heart. Just feel the energy with your breath. And very gently allow your awareness to move outside of your body once again, keeping it close, keeping connected internally and externally, keeping them connected. And allow your awareness to come more fully into this space as we engage together. And I thank you and ask you to just bring your awareness back into this space. Powerful stuff. Thank you. So as I was saying before, in my feelings and processing, it's been all day. I was sitting in meditation, and my friend Moshe called, and we talked for a bit, and I was railing a bit because of the depth of the feeling that this has stimulated in me. And I want to share some of the things that I made notes about that I think is very powerful. One of the first notes is this idea of understanding that the state of our mass consciousness, and let me clarify what mass consciousness is. Mass consciousness is the collective belief that all of us hold. And they're things that, we don't think much of. They're just a collective agreement of this is how it is. This is what we do. This is the way we act. This is why we feel. It's one of the things that's creating a lot of challenge in all of our systems right now, between pandemics and political crazy and all of that going on. But what we need to understand is that the current state of the mass consciousness is reflected in the current state of our world. And what does that mean? That means that we as individuals are continuing to contribute to division. We are continuing to contribute to disease. We are continuing to contribute to nature going by the wayside. One of the startling things that I never put together in my own experience before, he starts this documentary, and again, we're talking about David Attenborough's documentary, A Life in the World, or A Life on Our Planet. And he puts up when he's talking about a particular decade that he started in and what he accomplished in that decade, he puts up a thing on the screen that talks about the pollution level, the population, and the amount of wild that's still left, amount of nature that's still untapped on the planet. And when he started, it was somewhere around 67% of our planet was still wild, was still forested, was still wild. And when he flashed forward to now, that percentage is in the 20s. In the 20s, 20% of our planet is left in the wild. I have no words to express what that does inside of my being, because what I know in the end is, he talks about, I want to go through this again. He's 93 years old, so he's almost 100 years of watching this evolution. One of the things that he talks about is rewilding the world, which actually made my heart leap. I thought it was a profound thing to think about, is rewilding the world, because what we learned through this documentary is how extraordinarily impactful every single thing we do is. As a collective, as an individual, how impactful it is when the polar ice caps are melting and we no longer can reflect the sun's intense radiation back out into the universe. The oceans getting depleted, not allowing for the CO2 to manufacture properly. The deforestation of the planet, the loss of all of the trees that are providing an incredible service to maintaining balance on this planet. But what we're seeing is that our choices are continuing to devolve our planet to a point where we will no longer be able to inhabit. And the unfortunate part of this, and something he points out brilliantly, is nature will continue. We may not. We are just another species on this planet, a species that has run rampant on this planet. And why I'm so in my feelings about that is that I want to see a change. And I'm saying, wow, how is that going to evolve? Look at the picture of this. I never understood it in this context. And nor did I ever understand that in my lifetime, I would live into a potentiality of destruction, that I would live in a potentiality of watching this amazing place diminish because of me, because of you, because of us. I hope it's as devastating to you as it is to me. I hope that you feel this as deeply as I am attempting to share it with you. We're going to dive into this in a major way. Some of the other things that he said that I thought were brilliant is we need to learn how to stop being apart from nature and become a part of nature again. And very clearly, he says very clearly, we're not saving the planet. There's no save the planet. We got to save us. Have you noticed the levels of extinction going on the planet? The species of animals, meat-eating animals, non-meat-eating animals in general, are becoming extinct. We are one of those. We may be at the top of the food chain because we're smart, but we're not going to be able to live on a planet we destroy. So how smart are we, really? The living world will prevail, and the species have to come together in balance. It's just it's a necessity. It's something we cannot ignore. So bear with me here, sorry. So the next piece of this is how do we approach this? I went from the I to the we. One of the things that really impacted me was an understanding that we, in some measure, I think in regard to some communities, more to the metaphysical communities, spiritual communities, we talk about oneness, we talk about wholeness, we talk about we're all one, and we all need to come together in this. And while I think we have to align in this, but I really want to drive home a point here, and that is we are in this ourselves. And what do I mean by that? So think about the current state of our world. Take into account all that is involved in this movie about the planet. We're at low 20% of the wild left in the world. That's directly attributable to me. That's directly attributable to you and to everyone else. But we can only individually create change when we are at a place in our own consciousness that we can connect to that larger energy of consciousness. But it is still us contributing that. I was thinking to myself, let's look at this. We have a pandemic that's separating us. We have a political system that's separating us. We have a full-scale process focusing around the planet on focusing on self, focusing on the individuals. The individuals are the ones that are dying and getting sick. The individuals are the ones that are being impacted economically. The individuals are the ones. But even more beyond that, we are on a planet of 7.5 billion people, and not one of them is the same. So please don't tell me that it's all kumbaya, because it's not. Because that kumbaya can't happen if we are not in the consciousness of creating that change, if we are not in the space of understanding this incredible spark of God, the universe, all that is, creation, that we are that spark, that individual, unique spark that is on this planet to create something new. We are here right now, today, on this planet in 2020, specifically to grow this spark, specifically to enhance in any way possible this glorious creation that we came from. We are on this planet to take the faculties that we have evolved into as individuals and to find a way to bring that love, to bring that spark of God, to bring that grain of stardust out of our experience and ignite it in the world and make it be the biggest possible light that we could possibly shine. And then, and only then, can we come together successfully in a new alignment. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand what I mean by this? This is not a make wrong. This is not a bad thing. You know, you're bad, I'm right, we're wrong. This is not about all that. This is why are we on the planet? 7.5 individual unique sparks of light that show up on this planet right now, the force of which, if focused in its power, would be extraordinary, would completely transform this planet. Do you think it is an accident that there are 7.5 billion sparks of light on this planet at this moment? It's not a mistake. It's not an error. Are we overpopulated? Probably. Can we do things about it? Probably. And some of that is laid out in the movie that I hope you get to see. I hope you take the time to view this, because it will impact you. But to the point that I'm trying to get here, guys, it's you. You are the thing that's going to change this world. You are the thing that's going to change. I shouldn't say change the world. That's a byproduct of bringing that spark out, bringing that internal, bringing that capital S self to play in the game, and choosing to align with that capital S self, choosing to engage that capital S self in the highest possible fashion, because then and only then can we come together in unity to create via all of these incredible sparks, because it's going to take all of them for us to move this needle, for us to change the momentum, but we can only do one at a time. And so coming full circle to the original feeling of why am I doing this? What's the point? What's the point when the world is on a crash course of who knows what? And again, it's not a fear thing. It's a sad thing. It's like, really? I mean, I knew it, but I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And don't spiritualize it. Please don't spiritualize it. Take it for what it is. Get responsible for you. Get responsible for your energy, for your thought, for your feeling. Get responsible for bringing your spark forward. That's what this platform is for. That's why I'm here. That's why I wrote a book. That's why it's all the same. All of this for me is breaking free of the shackles of fear that we have chosen to engage for a century, at least. Breaking free of a consciousness that is diminishing who we are every single moment of every single day. Breaking free of a fear and an irrationalness that somehow we don't have to do something different to make this planet a better place for us to live. We're going to extinguish ourselves by virtue of our lack of responsibility. We are going to extinguish ourselves because of a lack of our responsibility to ourselves. Is that like the craziest paradox ever? I mean, to me it is. And to me, it's like the craziest paradox ever, because I think it was in the Course in Miracles, Marianne Williamson talked about, we're not afraid that we don't have enough. We're afraid of our power. We're afraid of the extraordinary nature of who we are. And that if we wake up to that extraordinary nature, we wouldn't put up with half the shit we put up with. We wouldn't put up with a quarter of the shit we put up with. We would stand up and we would beam love at everything we could beam love at. We would find ways to fill every space on this planet with love. And we would honor everything on the planet as love. We would honor all of it and find ways to uplift it and support it and guide it. We are not responsible for saving anything. We're responsible for changing. We're responsible for our evolution in how we move into our lives. What is the momentum we create? We are responsible for the input we put into the mass consciousness that allows that cloud of darkness to continue to surround us and to continue to inform our choices and decisions. I call bullshit, people. No. We have so much more to give. We have so much more to share. We have so much more power and love and light and joy to bring to this environment. And what we're doing is sucking the life out of it. But what we're really doing is sucking the life out of this human experience. Those of you with kids, I say fortunately I don't have kids. It wasn't something I was on my agenda this time around, but something to seriously consider. His time frame is not 50 years from now, it's 10 years from now. The difference is that we will impact on this planet at 7.5 billion people at the rate that we're growing, at the rate that we continue to destroy the planet. In 10 years, life will become vastly different. In 20 years, I still plan to be here in 20 years. How old will your kid be? Seriously, think about it. Think about this is no longer a hypothetical about what's going to happen in some other lifetime. It's in our lifetime. We're watching it happen. I hope that you feel my passion. I hope you feel the desire I have to reach out and say, guys, come on, we can do this. We can do this, but we can only do it individually. We do it as individuals, and then we can combine collectively. When I'm fully engaged in my power, I can become of service. Before that, no, you're not being of service. You're not. You may be in servitude. You may be in a lot of things, but let's be clear. Selflessness is nonsense. You didn't come here not to be you. You came here to be all of you, fully self-realized. That's not a bad thing. That's why the hell would you be here? Why would we be here if we can't express this incredible thing that I am? And there's 7.5 billion of us. Wow. 7.5 billion unique sparks of love, unique sparks of light that probably don't recognize 10% of the potential or power. So for those of us who can start to recognize, for those of us who start to see it, we can fill the space with love. We can fill the space with clarity. We can fill the space with upliftment so that those who don't see it yet can start to see it. So that those that don't recognize it yet can begin to see the new momentum that we create because we are taking responsible for bringing the full power of this being onto this planet. We have that capability. We are powerful beyond measure in that way. And it's time for us to step into that responsibility. It's time for us to step up and step in. And that means stepping up to me and stepping into all that I am. Because as I evolve that, it's only natural that I want to share it, that I want to uplift the next person, that I want to engage and love and uplift that next person. It comes organically. When you pretend to be of service because you're selfless and you're spiritual, it's an ego trip. It's not reality. It's not being of service. Because I can tell you from my own personal journey, it took years, it took decades to get the concept of service in a way that you get it. Not servitude, not selflessness, not any of that. It took decades to break down the stuff inside of me, the arrogance and the ego that was not allowing me to understand that in order for me to be of true service, I had to start here. In order for me to find true service, it had to be true service to the God in me. If I can't honor the God in me, how the hell am I going to honor it in anybody else? I don't care if it's a bunny or if it's a squirrel, if it's a human, if it's a tree, if it's a leaf. If you're not honoring it here, you can't honor it there. So as we take responsibility and we evolve that momentum, we evolve our thought process, we grow, we expand, we become part of nature. We become in union with. It doesn't mean we can't still have an amazing planet with amazing things to do and all kinds of cool stuff to engage with, but we do it in a way that is about focusing on what's natural, using what's available already to create positive change, to learn how to work with the environment, to create things that enhance us and the environment. And I don't want to take too much out of that because that's stuff that David talks about in the movie, in the documentary. But we have so much to offer. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about surrender and with regard to this idea of changing momentum and taking responsibility. So we will be back right after this. All right, y'all, welcome back. And my book is doing well, and I'm excited that it's out there for anyone to grab. And to all of this stuff that we're talking about, all of this about taking responsibility, about understanding our role in what's happening in the world and standing up and stepping into that. This book is a big part of that, in understanding how fear has come into our experience, how we've integrated it into our experience and use it, and then ways that we can disengage from that. And part of that is a process that goes surrender. And here's where the rubber meets the road to me. So we have these circumstances and these situations, and it requires all of us to step in. And obviously, given the nature of the world today, it's going to be challenging that all of us step in. So as we become more conscious, as each individual does, they can then add their energy to that collective. They can add their energy to that momentum, because their spark then becomes a different voice, a different language, a different approach, reaching different people in different ways who can hear it in the language that each individual spark is communicating it. Because as you look around the planet, you can see there are many powerful people who are sharing their light and their spark. And we know that some of us don't resonate with some, but we resonate with others. And that's a powerful tool, but that's why there's so many of the people in the world who are able to communicate this. Maybe my choice of language doesn't resonate as strongly as someone else's. That's okay. I'm going to continue to speak my language because my energy and my language is going to affect a certain amount of people, as will yours, as will the person next to you and the person down the street when they engage their light. So Surrender. Why is surrender so important here? We all have preconceived or some kind of ideas that's all tied to the mass consciousness. It's all tied to the life on the planet, so to speak. And part of what has to happen in the process of taking responsibility is the surrender of what we think is, or what we think might be, or what we think, whatever the story is, to surrender it completely, to say, I'm ready to be all of me. I'm ready to step into all of who I am. Now, how that happens and how quickly it happens really is your personal process. I know I can help you. The work that I do with people on a day-to-day basis is specifically about that, laying this foundation for transformation, so that you can more easily step into this, and that when you take those steps, they're more quantum steps than baby steps. But do what works for you. Baby steps are just as impactful as quantum steps. And you can take those baby steps that will lead you to a point where you will finally be ready for quantum. And there is no bad, right, or wrong. You're moving in the direction. You are contributing to the forward momentum of your own evolution, but of the evolution of the species and the evolution of our lives together. So surrender becomes about recognizing that we are so much more than what we give ourselves permission to believe, and surrendering that belief, surrendering that idea, even though we don't know what it's going to look like. I sat a lot today thinking, in my frustration earlier, of what's the point of all this? What's the point of a book and a show and it's nice, but what's the point? And ultimately for me, the point is I get to talk to you. Ultimately, the point is, while I may not be perfect and I may not have all the answers, I have a lot of experience that I want to share. And hopefully that experience will ignite the fire in your heart. Hopefully that experience will touch that spark in you. That's really my goal in the end, that I activate that spark in you so that you then take that spark into the world and change everything. That you allow that spark to envelop you, and that you become the brightest possible light, so that your light can become of service to a whole section of the world, a whole section of people on the planet who are ready to hear your voice, who are ready to feel your energy, who are ready to accept your love. So surrendering is sort of multidimensional, because we want to surrender to our humanness. We are here as human beings, but we are also created from miraculous things. And we have energy for days. We have all kinds of energy that we don't know what to do with. We don't know how to focus. We don't know how. So we diminish our experience. We diminish who we are because we don't know how to embrace who we are. Let's stop that. Let's take responsibility for stepping into who we are. And again, take it as you can. There's no thing here that says, damn it, you got to be there yesterday. Every time someone wakes up a little bit, every time, it creates new momentum. Every time someone takes a quantum leap, it creates more momentum. And so what we want to do now is stop this crazy freight train. Well, let's think about this. A freight train going 120 miles an hour down the track isn't going to stop on a dime. And if it does, it's going to wreak unbearable havoc. We don't need to go there, right? We don't have to take that journey. We can start putting new energy in, start taking our foot off the gas of the old momentum. Let that train slow down. Excuse me. Let that train slow down. Let it start to lose its focus and momentum, so that we can begin to build a new momentum. So you can see there's a little bit of a balancing act. So there's a momentum happening, and as we each ignite that spark within us, as we each separate from that mass consciousness and pull our energy out of that momentum, we are no longer contributing to that out of control state. We are no longer contributing to that destructive energy. We are actively using all of our energy to contribute to something much greater, something more, even more amazing and more powerful and more connecting and more serving. Do you follow that? It's a basic concept in law of attraction. If you don't like what's over here, stop paying attention to it. Move your attention to what you want to be paying attention to. I want to break it down into the minutiae so that you understand that when you remove yourself from mass consciousness by elevating your vibration, When you remove yourself from that mass consciousness by doing your daily practice, by doing those things that ignite the spark within you, by being in nature, by connecting with people in nature, when you're doing those things, your vibration is increasing. And the vibration of the mass consciousness, which may be here, takes you come through that and you pierce the veil. And when you pierce the veil, poof, everything opens up. Everything becomes different. That's the difference between fear-based mentality and opportunity-based mentality. That's the source of it. So withdrawing yourself from that mass consciousness and then getting clear in your space. Don't run from mass consciousness over to some preconceived spiritual idea. That's not going to solve anything. You got to deal with this. This is the important part. This is the thing that makes the difference. It doesn't matter whether you think you have deep, dark secrets. It doesn't matter if you think you're less than. Stop. Make a different decision. That's contributing to this negative momentum. And it is perpetuated by the negative momentum of the mass consciousness. Withdraw yourself from that. You may not know what you're going to feel. That's okay. You may not know what that's going to look like. That's okay. When I woke up this morning and I was feeling so bummed out and frustrated and confused and all of that energy, all I wanted to do was not do this show. I went in the living room and I had breakfast and I said to Michael, I don't want to do a show today. I don't care. What's the point? I was kind of in this, but that's part of who I am. That's part of a personality that I exist within. So what am I going to do with that? I'm going to use the tools that I've developed to raise my vibration. I got stuck in some pretty negative place. Well, what that tells me, the negative energy is saying I may not be paying attention to this in quite the right fashion because my higher self and my ego self are seeing this very differently. So I'm having a negative emotional experience. I have to do what I have to do to get my space right. I'm still human. I'm a part of the human race. I'm impacted, but I have choices about how I deal with that. So rather than it being me being a punching bag to mass consciousness, I can observe what I experience, and I can allow that observation to inform me, because I can say, wow, the intensity of my negativity is really telling me there's some good juicy bits here. There's some stuff for me to move through in this process. And so I've spent the day processing, literally, in my emotion, in my thought, in my energy, in my breath, and fortunately, as I was sitting and meditating before the show, getting myself in my space and surrendering all of my preconceived notions about how the show might go or what I might say or what might happen, my friend called. And I looked at the phone and my first thought was, I only have 30 minutes to the show. I probably can't talk right now. Automatic knee-jerk response. But I was in my space and I looked again and I went, oh, wait a minute. This is somebody I can connect with that I have not been able to do today in the fashion that I need to get my space right. So I hit answer and we spent 15 minutes talking about this topic. And my amazing friend Moshe was able to hear me, reflect back to me, and help me to piece together in a way that took out all of the negative aspect of it, that took out the negative part of it, the part that was judgy, the part that was focusing on you and you and you, and why aren't we doing this? And saying, wait, I got to take care of my space. I got to take care of this. I got to get this right so that when I come here, I hope that all of you out there get to experience what I'm sharing in a way that allows you to experience it, meaning that you can integrate this. You can take this into your experience. Because there's, my personality, the parts of myself that have evolved over the 56 years I've been on this planet, some of it isn't nice. And some of yours isn't nice either, but that's not all of who you are. It's a very small part of who you are. And it's just habits that have been built from bad behaviors and bad beliefs. So what? Get over it. Move on. Change it. Do something new. And that something new is surrendering it all. It's not going to go away. You're not going to lose it for life. Maybe you will. I haven't had that experience. I had the experience that every day you do your work. Every day you do your work. because we live as human beings on this planet. That's the duality we have. That's the duality that we live. We're on the planet as a human being, as a species within the construct of this amazing natural organism called the Earth. We're one species of hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And what we are responsible to is making sure this is in alignment with that. Nobody can make you get into alignment. No one can make you make choices about how you apply your energy. Only you can do that. That's why I say ultimately it's about us getting connected to us, to me, to you, and then bringing that light that I've allowed to express. Then I can come to you and we can align our lights, and our lights merge and create a beautiful spectrum of color and healing and light and love, unlike anything we've ever seen before. We have that power. I want me to experience that power. I want you to experience that power. And you can when you choose to take responsibility and not deflect into we are all one, not deflect into not paying attention to self by being selfless, whatever that means. Ultimately, when you achieve that level of consciousness, you become small s selfless, somewhat. Because you're still a human being on the planet, interacting with other human beings on the planet, in the energy of this planet. So you're always going to be experiencing things. It's a matter of how you approach them. It's a matter of how, from your vibrational standpoint, do you interact with those things? Are you the victim at effect, or are you the person in responsibility and power who's seeing and responding, and then making adjustments so that you're contributing your energy to the momentum of health, healing, love, moving forward? Those are all your choices. And you have them every day. You have them every minute of every second of every day. And you can choose to engage them as readily as you choose, as you want to. As readily as you choose the McDonald's hamburger, you can choose to do your work. As readily as you can do anything, drive a car, go to work, you can create your own energy. So I encourage that. I support you in that. I love you in that. I love you regardless, but I want you to feel these feelings. I want you to experience this desire for change. I want you to feel in my heart, in your heart, what my heart feels in this desire to express this joy, this love, this energy of our power individually and then collectively. You are all that and a bag of chips. Seriously. Let's act like it. Let's stand in it. Let's step into it as completely and unerringly as possible. And know that you're still human. Things are going to come up, but you own it. You're responsible to who you are. So when those aberrations show up, you can deal with it. You can step in and say, wow, that's not what I want. That's not really what I wanted to do with my energy. I'm owning that. And I'm taking back that energy, or I'm going to help soften whatever I did with my energy. And then I'm going to move my attention back to where I want it to be. And I'm going to move my focus and energy back where I want it to be. And that is the space of love. That is the space of opportunity. That is the consciousness of opportunity that is without fear. I am deeply grateful to all of you who show up, who listen, who partake, who participate. That I have this platform, that I have this place to share this is beyond my wildest dreams, quite frankly. I don't know how many of you see me and talk about this or see this and experience it, but what I know is that even if it's only one person somewhere, it's okay. It's good. Because that one person can hear the spark in me talking to the spark in them, in you. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you. If you enjoy our show, if you're a great fan, I appreciate you. And I would love for you to leave comments. The more comments, the things that will draw people to participate are so helpful. Sharing, commenting, most importantly, subscribing, reviewing, letting us know what your experience is, letting us know how we can serve even more, how we can be in this process even more so, and building this momentum individually and together. I hope you all have an incredible weekend. I hope that some of this penetrates and that you're able to start thinking in terms of, what am I doing today to contribute to the momentum that I want to see happen? What am I doing today that I can move the needle in my own world, in my own space, so that as I do that, as I generate that momentum, then I can then join with others who are generating that momentum. And together our individual sparks align. We do not meld into one, we align. And that alignment means we come together to share this energy, to explode this energy into the world, to bring this incredible love energy into this space. And then on the planet, we can take that and separate those and come back to self again, and live and enjoy in that space, and then realign wherever we need to focus awareness into areas where we need to shift the energy and create change. That's how it's meant to work. You're not meant to homogenize. We're not homogenized. We're 7.5 billion unique sparks of God inhabiting this beautiful earth. Let's bring it all to bear. Let's bring it all to bear on creating the most incredible space we could possibly think of. Thank you for being a part of the Adventures in Truth family. Thank you for being here today. I wish you the best, and I can't wait to see you again next time. Thank you very much for being here. Have a great, great day.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Adventures in Truth podcast. Thank you for joining us. We'd love to connect with you. Please like us on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. To learn more about Jim's book, Fear is a Choice, Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love, or to book a session with Jim, you can email us at adventuresintruth@gmail.com, or you can join us on the web at www.adventuresintruth.com. Tune in next time for another great Adventures in Truth podcast.